today we are going to be talking all about Vanderhalls. With me today, I have Chris. He is the owner, operator, dealer, janitor of Premier Motorsports Playing Field. He is a Vanderhall dealer as well as sells a plethora of used cars. As a car guy, he is a Harley enthusiast as well as a Porsche enthusiast.
Oh yeah,
and I have Alex. I cannot say his nickname legally in public. But Alex is also Alex is also a bike enthusiast or motorcycle, and I would say classic modified, or I mean,
classic modified, old school. Vanderhall still probably my favorite toy.
Vanderhall, I choke up on that mic a little bit.
Vanderhall's my favorite toy. I used to have nothing close to my face.
Sorry, don't get into a fight with the mic. So today, just to kind of go over Vanderhalls, we're going to kind of go over all of the buzzing questions that are popular and just kind of give you our thoughts in an informal way. Between the three of us, we got some very unique perspectives on Vanderhall, what to do, how to do it, and that's pretty much sums it up. So I'm going to start things off. I'm going to start with Alex. Alex, start off with what introduced you to Vanderhall? Like, when did you first see it? What attracted you to it? What made you buy it?
What made me buy it? I don't know. I would say, first off, when I first seen it, it looks like, it reminds me of like one of the old race cars. And I like the style. It was something different. It wasn't like anything, wasn't like a motorcycle or anything I had ever liked.
Where'd you see it? Because, I mean, I remember we bought ours kind of around the same time. Like, you didn't see them on the street at all. There was...
The first time I seen one on the street, and I could not remember the name of it. And I think I was like scrolling Facebook, and it popped up. A dealership popped up, and I went to go see something face to face. And I bought my first one. I bought a Venice.
I forgot to mention Alex has two.
let me reverse a little bit. The one I actually was supposed to buy, I told him to hold it when I was on my way to Mexico, and I said, I'll be back. When I got back in town, he had sold it. So I ended up buying a Venice that he had that was there on the showroom floor. I loved it. It was great. After one summer though, outside with no top and no hair, I said, okay, I think I want one with the top too. So the following year, I bought a Karma as well.
I will say, when I first checked out Vanderhall, I forgot where I saw it. I think I just saw it like in an Instagram post or something like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it was cheap enough for me to be like, yeah, that's a toy. Like, I can spend that on a toy. Right. And I went and I test drove one and I tried the Venice. It was before the Carmel came out. I drove the Venice. And I remember the guy that I test drove with was a big guy. Like, he was big. And so you like have to like fall into the Venice, right? You get in there, you get all comfortable, and he gets in. I was like, I mean, you are really...
You're getting to know each other.
It's only a few inches wider than Caramel, but you feel it if you're a passenger. And I was like, ooh, I don't know, like I like it, but I don't love it. And then right away they came out with the, like right after I did that test drive, and I was thinking over, I saw that they released the Caramel, and I was like, okay, I'm down for that. Found it. I was like, okay, I'm in. Test drove that, loved it. Also, the second dealer that I did, they didn't stick me with it. They're like, yeah, just go for a ride and come back. And I was like, it was much more comfortable. That would be Platinum. I bought it from Platinum Motorsports, and you know, there's not too many dealers left.
No,
Chris, you're a dying breed. So now it's going to change a little bit different. So, Chris, how did you decide to become a Vanderhall dealer? Because I assume you became a Vanderhall owner and dealer all in one swoop.
Yeah. So the way this happened was I was looking to get some sort of franchise, and I just started looking at all kinds of motorsports tickets because they're easier to get than car manufacturer. And we tried Polaris, we tried some of the other big guys, Can-Ams and everything, and the requirements were a lot lengthier than Vanderhall's. And when we got around to Vanderhall, like I just did the application and they called me like the next day and they're like, hey, congrats, you're a Vanderhall dealer. shit. That was so that's basically how it started, and they just sent over all the paperwork, and they showed me what units I can buy, and I bought all the, like the gear, all the signage and everything that you see around here, and that was it. That's how we started.
I will say so. Chris and I became friends as well as Alex through Vanderhall. Really, just driving.
Yeah.
And
Well, our story is pure coincidence.
yeah. I mean,
Literally.
too many coincidences.
Yeah.
But we'll unpack that another time. But it was kind of like Vanderhall's. But at that time, it was a really weird time for Vanderhall too, because I had probably owned mine for about a year. You've probably been in it for 2 years, starting with Vanderhall.
Yeah, I think
When did you get into business?
When we did that rally, I was a dealer for just a couple months.
So that was
March of 2019.
19?
No.
20? 21?
22. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Listen, I still.
It'll be 3 years, I think, in March. So 25 will be something like
so
that.
22, I bought mine, I think, in 20. Yeah, in
Yeah,
21 because I have a 22. I think that's what I was told when I bought it.
I bought the Venice. I bought the Venice. It was 21. I bought it in June of 21.
Okay, all right. So you got a year on me, and then I pretty much had it. So basically, like, it was a weird time because I bought mine from Platinum. They had just come on as a dealer. Before that, it was iMotorsports was the only dealer. And when I went in there, I will just say, like, the experience. Everybody, listen, there's guys in the groups that had great experience at iMotorsports. I didn't. I was like, hell no. Then Premier came online. They were like just realistic, not a lot of like BS. And it has nothing to do with Vanderhall. It's about like cars. Like, I hate going to a car dealership and it's like, oh, blah, 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 we got to work the numbers. And let me go in the office and ask my manager. I'm like, you know what the number is. I know what I like. Let's just. You tell me, and either I'm crazy or you're crazy, and either you're going to sell a car or you won't. Like, it was just like a really weird exchange. So not to dive, that's not what this is about, but it was a weird time because they were supposed to have an exclusivity, and then Vanderhall started exploding, and then Premier came on, and then Platinum came, or I'm sorry, then Platinum came on.
I think
then Premier
Platinum
came
had
on.
it before us.
Not too far.
I really didn't. I was not familiar with like even the brand or anything much about them before I signed up with them. I just knew that I wanted to do something more, and Vanderhall just became.
It was
more.
fitting the
It
slot
fit the mold.
of
Yeah, it fit what I was looking for, and it was iMotorsports for a long time, and then Platinum. I'm sure other dealers too, but most of those dealers are just they're no longer. It's down to I think 4 dealers in Illinois.
Is it that many?
It might not even.
I think it's just Premier and
I
Platinum.
mean, as far as like the Chicagoland area, if this is considered the outskirts of Chicago still, then it's me. And then you got I know some dealer way down south. You got some way up north. But
I know there's one in Wisconsin. I mean, they're around. It's just one thing I will say. So this is going to lead to my next question here, and I'll kick this off. And it's like, what should you tell somebody looking to buy a Vanderhall to look for in a dealer? And I feel real confident in this. First and foremost, will they service your vehicle?
Yes.
100%.
I was shocked when I bought mine. Shocked. Like, it didn't even occur to me to ask when I bought mine from Platinum that they don't service. They're like, we just sell it. And I was shocked at that. I was like, holy crap. Like, what do I do? And you weren't even up and running then. So then I had to go to iMotorsport, and they were like, well, you didn't buy it from us, so
I think when I bought it, I think they sent it out. I think Platinum sent mine out for service. They did certain things, like I changed the interior, and they did certain things, but anything like service-wise, mechanically, they sent it out.
They didn't have a tech. They didn't have
They did not.
They were like, we have some guy come in on the first Tuesday of every month.
Right, he comes in once a week. That's what I think it was.
So what I will say is, so go back to that. Find out how they run their service is my opinion. 2, I think something really important where I really appreciate Chris is your Vanderhall dealer a Vanderhall owner rider? because Chris just doesn't.
Enthusiast.
Yeah, like Chris doesn't. He rides, so he lives the life with us, and I think it's important. But that's kind of my thoughts of like, hey, you know, what to look for. Alex, where did you buy yours?
Well, I brought platinum. I brought the vintage from platinum. The caramel I bought from a private owner.
Okay.
I drove to Missouri and picked it up.
And when before Chris on board, where were you servicing?
I never had many problems with that. I know so many.
I know you do a lot of your own.
Yeah, I know.
work.
I say
mean,
so many people. They have like issues with certain things with Vanderhall. I've been fortunate to not have too many issues. The first issue I had with the one I bought from the private owner was the motor mount, and I brought it here to Premier.
Yeah.
And
I remember those.
I remember.
I thought it was an axle, and we thought it was an axle.
I remember
always an
parts of
automatic.
that motor mount.
Yeah, but it was it turned out to be the motor mount. Yeah,
Motor bracket.
motor bracket.
Bracket. There's a difference.
Yeah, motor mount.
Motor bracket.
All right.
For
So
argument's sake.
yeah.
But yeah, so I brought it here. But other than that, like oil changes, tune ups,
Most of Alex's work is all elective.
Yeah.
Cosmetic.
All right. So and also, all right. So we like there's kind of like you'll find all this. I think with all the Vanderhall cluster groups around the U.S. You know, you get like little clusters where everybody's like buddies and you know,
Right.
got text chains and whatever. But Alex is definitely one of the guys that like he'll send one randomly, like his Vanderhalls in pieces everywhere. And it's just like, whoa.
Got bored
Alright.
with the color again.
Yeah. And it's funny too because I'm like, oh shit, what are you doing? And he's like, oil change. What? It's like I have a few other things. A few other things. I don't really I'm rerunning a speaker cord or something.
So
Auxiliary
So-
cord.
I went to a school when they still had auto shop. We had auto shop, so we used to have to take motors apart and put them back together. And if they didn't run, you failed. You get a failing grade. So I'm handy.
That makes sense. I never, the high school I went to didn't offer that.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
loved to have taken a
Yeah, no, we had auto shop, so
Auto
we literally like had to take engines apart from pistons, pull it in, like every piece, take off head gaskets, take everything completely apart.
Dude, you
put
speak
them
with
all
your
back
hands
together.
more than an Italian. I gotta tell you. You got,
Hey, what do you say?
I gotta keep changing your mic. I'm like, shit, man. Come on.
Yeah, I was thinking about my hands and handy. We literally had to take things apart, everything. We had to really break a motor down like completely and put it all back together. And it had to run or you fail the grade.
God bless.
I mean, that's,
well, you know,
and that makes sense. I mean, you have a
Yeah.
talent now like, that I don't possess. Like I can't.
well, awesome.
I've never taken a motor.
He's a trade carpenter, so he's
Yeah, I'm a carpenter.
like just building stuff, right? So that I mean, you've got a confidence of like, I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That kind of leads me to, you know, what before I get to the next thing, Chris, because it's going to be probably a little bit weird for you, is try to be unbiased here.
Mhm.
But if you weren't a dealer, what would you tell people they should look for in a dealer? Because obviously, if you're in elimination, by your Vanderhall, right? Or the tri-state area, but
Right.
what? I mean, they're all over the country. What would you tell people? Like, hey, you know what? As a dealer, this is what I think is important.
I mean, you want to have good. First of all, you want to have your customers want to have a good experience. You need to have good sales guys. You need to have someone that knows the product that can explain a lot of the things about Vanderhall to their customers. That's pretty important. You know, like for example, something at Vanderhall, they don't give you an owner's manual. There's one online, right? But they don't give you the physical like owner's manual. So I know it's kind of funny, but
I
don't know where to look.
download.
I actually have.
They used to,
I
right?
have, I have
this-
one.
Well, it's a collector's item.
I have one for the caramel for the Venice,
Really?
and I also have one
Yeah,
for
you
the caramel.
printed it from
I have one for the caramel that's also digital. The guy I bought it from had one of the zip drive as well. So
Yeah, well, there you go. The Speedster I have did come with a Vanderhall owner's manual.
Really?
That's kind of unique. But no, I mean, that's one thing. Honestly, I mean, you nailed it on the head earlier. Service. It is
critical.
it is absolutely critical. It's game changing. I'll tell you this: without service, I met a lot of cool people through this dealership, through Vanderhall. A lot of friends now that were not before through service. You know, so it's a good thing.
I know you get a lot because it's interesting. Like before you came on board, I will say it was really hard to get your Vanderhall serviced or even get a question answered.
Right.
Get a part. It was like because you can't go to Vanderhall. You can't if you want a part like as much as you do on your own. If you're like, hey, I need a new blah blah blah.
No, most of the time I go to the forums. You know, we got so many forums on Facebook, and like certain parts, you want to know what type of oil filter, the type of oil. Like you go to the forums, and that's kind of how I started out.
But if you knew you needed that engine bracket, you're like, oh shit, I need an engine bracket. You couldn't call Vanderhall and get one.
Now, if I actually found what noise was coming from, I probably would figure it out.
I believe you, but I don't know that you
but
like
most people
getting direct to Vanderhall.
Accessibility.
Yeah, I'd say most people they're not as handy, and they also like why should you have to deal with this bullshit?
You know, I will say one thing in Vanderhall's defense, though. Like, okay, you own a Mercedes, right? If your G-Wagon needed a no 2 sensor, you wouldn't call a Mercedes. You would call your dealer.
Yeah, that is
the dealer
true.
is supposed to provide the parts.
Correct.
That is
the service, the parts. You know.
That's true. And I don't mean. Listen, here's
here's
the other thing that we can talk about this too is I think that a lot of Vanderhall, like I love Vanderhall. Just like you said, that's probably the favorite car. I own a lot of cars.
By far, yeah,
it's my favorite.
I got so many damn cars, but that's by far my favorite toy for sure.
It is, but I went into this with different eyes, right? Which you probably did too. Is I saw it from day one as a toy. Like I was like, this is like buying a wave runner or a jet ski. Like this is a toy, and I feel like a lot of the people in the forums and the clubs get frustrated because they see it as like a car.
Yeah,
right. It's not.
Yeah, and it is not. It is like it's.
I mean, it could be. If you live somewhere that permits that, like Florida, you could daily that thing, but they're still quirky.
It's just quirky. Like
I'm not saying I would want to. I wouldn't do
I can't imagine
as much as possible.
Yeah.
So
100. Well, and keep in mind, we are in the Midwest. We get like
snow.
5 months if we're really lucky. But really, it's like 3.5 that we can ride, right? So, so it's obviously it could never be a deal. But like Florida, I don't know. Like, I see it as an ancillary toy. Like people should not have the same idea of dependency and expectations that they do on a whatever car with a 10-year warranty. Like
I agree.
You can't look at it the same.
But I will tell you though, if you had to pick one toy as a daily or something that you could pull off, it would be a Vanderhall Carmel.
I agree.
Tires on there.
Absolutely.
You got heated seats. You got heat. You could put a winter hat on, and you could cruise. And I would love to do that.
And
I personally want to be the guy that's recorded, on Facebook, whatever, spotted some crazy asshole on Vanderhall.
Well, that was Byron, right?
Yes, it was.
This is playing. So
he's in a blackjack.
Oh man,
so that's cool.
But really, if you had to pick one thing, it would be that. It wouldn't be a Harley. It can't be a snowmobile. You can't drive. Can't be a slingshot. No roofs. But the Carmel fits everything. The only thing you don't have is windows. Which is like.
Yeah,
it's got heat, and
you got everything.
So listen,
you could pull it up.
While you talking about that, I'm trying to come up with something for some like poppy in and out windows.
That's not a crazy idea, man.
No, I'm serious.
They have
Since I just started, since this winter has came and I took it all apart, just something that I'm exploring right now.
How would you do it?
Alex,
I
got a whole business coming up.
I got some great ideas.
Carmine, we just have to come up with how would you okay, the door opens, so would you have the little plastic on the outside? Does it go on the outside of the cap shade and the outside of the door? That's the only way it could.
Alex isn't giving. He's filing for a patent, so he's not saying. It's just an interesting idea. I'll let you know when I have them built and charge. Well, okay. While we're on that,
well, I'm gonna tell you now. We'll talk about it. You already know who's going to have a wholesale price. Go ahead.
Listen, everybody is very grateful to you, Chris, because
Thank you.
You jumped in when we need needed somebody to really like lean in and say, hey,
Man, I'm telling you.
I get it. I like, and I think the difference is, so like, at Motorsport, nobody there owned a Vanderhall. Nobody would like show up on the drives and meets. They sold them and they serviced them, and they were the only ones. But nobody was like living the life. Platinum, they were nice enough guys. Like I said, they didn't do service, but they were nice enough guys. They got it. But again, they didn't really own them, ride them. They weren't part of it. Chris jumped in and was like on rides with us all the time because you love the Vanderhall.
I mean,
Like not just selling them, you like
Vanderhall. I'm a rider. I've been a Harley enthusiast for years. I mean, dirt bikes, ATVs, jet skis, everything. I love all motorsports.
So I think that's
and it makes it easy to ride the Vanderhall because you guys, like, I've never had a group of friends that, I mean, I have, but now, like, all my friends that are my age are all kids and everything. They don't go out as much. But you guys are just like, hey, boom, who's riding today? I'm riding. George, Gabe, Alex, Carmine. I'm like, it's Tuesday at 10:15 a.m. These guys are they're done with the day. They're just riding. So yeah, it made it easy because I'm like, I like hanging out with you guys. And you all have awesome Vanderhalls, and you're always riding, and you're local for the most part. I mean, you got a little bit of a ride, Carmine, but you're always out in this area.
Listen,
so it's just like the perfect storm. I mean, it's like it just works.
I will say, like, Vanderhall, just like you said, in the summer months, I will drive it as much as possible. It is my favorite toy to drive. It is 1,000 times better when you're with a group of Vanderhalls. It is. It just keeps like your joy. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, and it's like, and the more you're with, it just keeps getting up, and I'm like, 2, you're like, oh yeah, this is twice as much fun as when I was driving alone, and 3, you're like, this is 3 times as much fun. It's like it just keeps getting better. Like when you arrange that drive,
the Star Rock,
there was what, 22 of us or something?
There was,
it was like
22. I don't even know, maybe more.
It was nuts.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
That was probably the biggest gathering of Vanderhalls in Illinois.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know who else.
That was definitely the biggest.
I think we had 28.
Was it
I
that?
think it was 28.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
And it was
And
fun.
I'm mad at myself that I didn't push harder. I mean, we all talked about it, but I could have tried harder to pull off the like the fall run, like the Halloween run.
Sometimes it's just
fall cruise.
things don't. Things
It's
are
gonna
just
work out this year.
Yeah, it's kind of like all right, we're going on the guys trip next year. Start everybody. It's 20 people.
And then you get close.
You get closer. All right, it's 10 people. We actually go as 4.
Exactly.
So I will tell you that is a frustration. So the other thing is, I am. I'll call myself like vice president. Gabe is president. I'm like vice president of the Great Lakes Vanderhall group. So just a Facebook group of Midwesterners with Vanderhalls. Yeah. And really, what it's built on is just trying to organize rides, and as well as a resource center. But it's really all
resources,
about
rides,
Yeah.
a lot of things.
I will tell you, it is frustrating as hell because, like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, how do I get in the group?" It's like anyone can get in the group, like just show up, right? But it is frustrating. Okay, I got this great idea for a ride. We're gonna meet up here. We're gonna drive over here, and we're gonna do this. And you're like, who's interested? And it's like 77 people are gonna be there. And then a week later, it's like, hey, I'm just checking in. 77 people, we're gonna have to tweak a few things. And it's like 44 people are gonna be there. And then it's like, okay, the day before is like, who's coming? It's like 27 people are gonna be there. And then you show up and it's like 8 people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We got lucky when we did the Vanderhall, the Star Rock run, because everyone showed. It was like, even guys that I never even met. What's his name? Deadpool.
Matt
the Piper. I was like,
Yeah.
I saw him pull up, I'm like, who the hell is this? But it was awesome. It's great,
Yeah.
like people that you've never met, and most of these guys I noticed on for Vanderhall specifically, they have like aliases. Like their Facebook names are not who they are. So I'm like,
is that a Vanderhall thing or just in general? Because I will admit, like, Mateus.
yeah,
There's another. But there is a lot of aliases. Scott Richard Jeff.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know his actual
just
first
have-
name.
He said he told us. I think he told us last year doing the when we had the meet at Gabe's house, like to kind of like review, like
Oh, when we were like
fixing
just
those
working on
parts.
stuff.
Yeah. I can't
See,
remember.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Like it's either Scott, Richard, or Jeff, or it's a combination of the two. But like there are a lot of aliases, which I agree. It's kind of funny. But yeah, that was a really great ride, and
that was a very memorable time. I will definitely springtime. I'll plan another one. So like it was challenging this year because my wife just gave birth to our second son end of July, and I was like, well, kind of have to
you
be.
kind of
there.
need to be
So
around.
I couldn't like. I would love to have gone. I just don't know that I could have hosted everything and like took on another, another challenge. So,
And
but next year it'll definitely be.
I normally put up a lot of events and host, like some of the bigger events. And the problem I had this summer was my Vanderhall was pretty much in the shop.
Yeah.
The entire it was just like, and nothing on it was just like just one of those, like I said, in the Midwest you only got about 5 months of good riding, and it just so happened that the weird things that would go wrong and it was in the shop. By the time it came out, it was like raining for 2 weeks, and then I was going back in the shop.
Literally.
Like, it was,
Hey, but remember, keep in mind next year, and I mean this, show up here and just pick one and take it.
I don't.
That's your Vanderhall.
It's
And if for some reason someone wants to buy it, I'll tell
That
them
is-
it's on its way.
that is very generous, and I do appreciate it. And I will say, in that last drive again, where it was like that, we had
The
a
speedster?
random, what was it? It was like 70-degree day in October.
In October,
Like where
yes.
it
You
was
had to,
like,
right?
if you're in Chicago and you get a 70-degree day in October, it's like you gotta go out.
Yeah.
As
And,
God's saying, ride, my
yeah.
brothers.
And Chris loaned me the Speedster, and I'll say that it's a different ride, and I like it. Like I like it a lot. It feels different, rides different. It's cool. You didn't join us that day, did you?
I did, yes.
Did you? It's all
There was
I don't
a
miss
lot of
events.
you guys showing up.
I don't miss events though. I
You
show up.
usually don't. I agree. You are. Listen, we're doing this podcast about Vanderhalls, and I will tell you, like leading up to this, I was trying to put it out to all the group, like, who wants to be part of the podcast about Vanderhalls? Like, whoa, it's just like right. You showed up. You were like, hey, you can come to my place. It's like, all right, we got this down. And it's it's kind of funny. So if I'm going way out of the order I was thinking of in Vanderhall questions, but so you get a Vanderhall, that's stage one, right? And then you find Vanderhall Facebook group page or some kind of group page. And then you start meeting up, like, Alex, like, I can't even remember. How did you kind of join? How did our group kind of even form? I can't even really
I believe the first person I met in the group was Gabe, through the Great Lakes Vanderhall group. And Zico is
Zico,
actually,
yeah.
right when I bought the Vanderhall, he said, hey, look, here's a page. Check this out, Great
that
Lakes
makes
Vanderhall
sense.
group. Yeah. And from that point, we had like a map showing where everybody lives.
Yeah, Gabe.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
Gabe,
like
that was a good
Your
idea.
general area.
Yeah.
So if
I
you
like
guys
that.
and everybody, hey, you want to go for a ride,
Right.
It went from there.
And what would be your advice if somebody's like, hey, I just got a Vanderhall, I want to ride, but I don't know anybody. How do I break into the group? What was your advice?
Great Lakes Vanderhall.
All right.
Yeah,
Join
Facebook,
the-
Great Lakes Vanderhall.
Join the
It's
club,
like,
answer the questions.
That's it.
yeah, seriously, that's how a ton of us met. And the first big meetup after that was we all met up at Papado's.
Yep.
And we started off, it probably was like 5 or 6 of us. I did not get home that night or the next morning until Sunday morning until probably 3 a.m. We started at 11 a.m. We met at Papado's. And it started off with probably 5 to 7 of us. And I think by the end of the night in Wrigleyville, like 2 a.m., was 21 of us.
Is that the night you guys did,
I missed that night.
Gabe was telling us about like something on the south side?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it
It's
was.
like
Yeah,
a
went to
random, random places, random people.
Yeah,
random
went to
things.
Washington Park. Yeah, it was like a they call it pull up and park.
Yeah,
Washington Park.
He spoke
Well,
highly of that.
Where all the cars, so it's like a lot of old school cars and
Right.
stuff. Everybody comes out, so you had like all the old school cars. It was so packed that the police had shut it down at both ends. So we came in through the sides through the grass. So we came in through the side through the grass.
Gabe was sending me like,
Yeah,
I normally don't
it
get
was
phone
really
calls,
good.
but Gabe was sending me like videos and pictures all night, and like the group is growing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, we left Washington Park. Then I think Bashir had left, and then he came back. We all met up on the 22nd on Cermak in Michigan, and Seneca. He showed up with probably like 4 or 5 other Vanderhalls.
okay, yeah.
And and we man, it just got, like I said, the group just got bigger and bigger.
I will say, and I don't know your guys' thoughts on it, but so, I consider myself a car guy. I go to car shows, different car shows with different cars, kind of thing. The Vanderhall is the first group that no matter who I meet, I've yet to meet somebody with a Vanderhall. And I've been like, that dude's a jackass. Like everybody's cool. I mean, you'll get somewhere like, you like some more than another, you hit it off just like anything, but like very rarely, like you don't get like a really abrasive Vanderhall.
No.
Like they're all just like cool people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't think of
And it's all walks of life too. Like
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, all
it is.
different. Like it's
really is an interesting mix of people, man.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. I sent a lot of people that came to me for service. The first interview, just not service, but sales too. I'm like, hey, why don't you join our Facebook page? And I'm like, you got Facebook? I'm like, right now. Like, and I just type it in their phone. So I must have at least added, 10, 12, 15 people into the group.
Well, oddly enough, so we started out at was like Chicago Vanderhall.
Yeah.
And then like people from near areas were
Yeah.
driving to Chicago and like, oh, from like Indiana or even Ohio.
Wisconsin, Ohio.
So we brought up to Great Lakes, and kind of broadened it. We've got like I think about 600 active users right now, but I will say, and I'll say unfortunately, like when it comes to hey, let's ride, it's generally like a smaller group, maybe 20 people that are down.
Well, you got to juggle so many people's
Yeah.
schedules. It's not easy.
Well, and that's what, and that's what I'll say is I can get.
I think
like,
some of us have a little more freedom than others.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Everybody like how many miles you got in bed now? I had 22,000.
Jesus Christ. I got 22.
Yeah, like I'm serious. Like the first when I bought the car, when I bought it at 4,400 miles, and at the end of the season, I had almost 13,000.
That's impressive.
That's
man.
awesome. That is a lot.
So every single time, every chance I get, as soon as I get off, when I'm wrapped up for the day, even when it's nice out, I take it to the office with me.
Well, I was gonna say I've
Yeah.
seen you like it's your car when you have meetings and stuff, right?
Yeah, so it's like everybody don't have the same freedom. Sometimes you need your regular car to do things. So
I'll also say I think some people get intimidated that like, hey, there's this group, they're always riding together. And what you got to do though is it's just like any group of friends. Like everybody's gonna be more comfortable with the people they know right there. But if you want to be part of it, just show up. Just be like in the past year, a couple guys that just dove in. Ali, right? Ali just dove in. He was like, I'm here. I'm ready to ride. And Byron.
Oh man,
And Byron, dude,
Head
that
first.
was amazing.
he's wild.
So he's the one that was driving around.
Yeah, he
So
is.
also, if you go to Vanderhall, like you get very like aware of other Vanderhalls. Like if you see one on the street and you don't know the person, you're like, what?
Who's this?
There's somebody in my area with a Laguna Blue or something like that. Like, who is this guy? But like on Facebook at Car Spotters, totally different forum, I got to see this black Vanderhall in the middle of winter. Guy in a helmet, black Vanderhall, and I was like,
He messaged me the other day.
who the hell is this guy? And I don't know. Do you know who it is? I don't know. Just who's driving in the middle? And it was like Chicago winter. And it wasn't until like the spring and he started, so then we found out it was him. And it's like, dude.
He messaged me months ago. I can't remember. It was something about service. He bought his Vanderhall out of a dealer, an out-of-state dealer, and obviously he needed service, so that's how we met. And I told him, yeah, come on in, man. I'll take care of you. Anything I can do, I will. So he was very optimistic about, he loves Vanderhall.
That's
That's a guy that like he's just ready to go. He's like, yep, I'll do that. Oh, that new part came up. Yep, I'll buy that.
He jumped into the group
Yeah,
hard, head first, and Ali too. He's like, I want to ride. Like, let's do it. And I would say that's my advice is like, hey, if you show up at a meet and you don't feel completely comfortable right away, show up at the second meet. jump in the third. Like just keep going until you're
everyone's
part.
so cool.
No,
Yeah, because everybody's so cool and so
No,
laid back.
seriously,
It's like nobody's like, yeah, like I said, like nobody's like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys, when the first time when I joined the group, the Facebook group, and I heard Gabe was coming, I was like, oh man, I was like, shit, I'm like intimidated a little. I don't know. Like, you know, there's like the guy from the group. He came in, Gabe couldn't be nicer. Like literally, was the nicest guy, and like we talked for a while. We went to Crafton. And you know, he had the overheating issue, how his ECU was going
ECM,
and he kind of, you know, he came by with that, and we discussed, we got it fixed for him, and he's cool as hell. And you know, we know the real Gabe. I mean,
Oh yeah, well, listen, we've all like we've become a kind of a close knit,
absolutely
friends. You know, through Vanderhall, and I would say there's always room for more to join.
We're definitely past the acquaintance stage.
And have fun. Like I've yet to be in a situation, I can honestly say, where like everybody's like, hey, next time we go out, don't invite that guy.
Right,
Like everybody's so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's really like. I mean, there's been situations where I think it was one of the car shows when they first did the very first old Joliet Prison car show, and Seneca Rock, he caught a flat on Expressway.
I remember
And
that.
they told me like, yeah, he caught a flat on Expressway. I said, hey, I changed the rims on my Vanderhall, so I'm like, I got rims at my warehouse. Listen, I'm about 15 minutes away, so we hopped in. We drove over. I left my Vanderhall there. I hopped in the car with somebody. We drove. We went, took the tire to the expressway. Where was that? Got them back on the road. Like,
Everybody helps.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
I won't leave nobody stranded. This group is kind of tight knit. I won't leave nobody stranded. I don't think anybody leave you stranded. If they have in a situation where they can help, I think everybody's kind of in the same boat where they're on board to help each other.
Yeah, and it's not even emergencies either. It's like, you know, hey, I'm experienced. I don't know how to take the hood off, or you know, all kinds of things. Somebody will be like, I'll be at your house in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
literally. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and it's some of the coolest people.
Yeah, they are. I agree. We should do. Speaking of like, you know, taking hood off and whatnot. I always wanted to do some workshops here. We just one of the things we never got around to do.
You know what? We're gonna start planning more stuff. I think for next summer.
So we did, like I say, we did one workshop that was at Gabe's.
Gabe hosted.
Gabe hosted. So.
And I will say, it was hilarious. Because, all right, so here's another thing you got to know about owning a Vanderhall. Like, there's no instruction manuals. There's zero. And everything's like, nothing quite works the way you think it's going to. So,
exactly.
So we were like, in those strut arms or something. We were like, oh, this is going to be real simple. Like, we're going to put on these strut arms. And everybody had like little things to do. So Gabe was like, hey, I'll host at my house. I'll have, you know, a buffet, you know, whatever. And everybody brings a bunch of tools and we'll all help each other, right? And it was a great time. It was a great concept. We were like pulling up, using like firewood to prop things up. Like, it was like, it was literally like 10 of us trying to figure out one thing. I don't know, what are you doing? I was like, oh, let's grab that, shove that in there, and use a jack.
Oddly enough, I was thinking about that when I went to replace Shocks and Springs, and I'm like, man, I didn't have to do all of that. They have these logs. They put these logs with a jack. I just.
Well, you guys are probably drinking.
Probably just a little bit.
It was like we were very focused. Listen, I gotta tell you, we were focused, but it's like one of those things. Like Vanderhalls are like no instruction manual. A lot of things seem simpler than they are, and end up being simpler once somebody has figured out the way to do it easy.
That's classic. That's a classic.
So
once you've done
there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Although, okay, so I just gotta say, let's go around. Funniest Vanderhall related story. Go. Who wants to go first?
I got to think.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a
I'll share mine. And it actually has to do with Gabe. There's a lot of, we've had a lot
Like
of fun.
Vanderhall riding story or just
Vanderhall-ish story. Let's leave it there. Vanderhall related story.
Mhm.
So we did a Galena drive a couple years ago, and Gabe, you made me think about it. Gabe had this overheating issue where if he was running and then parked in the sun, like nobody really like there was a whole
Wouldn't
like
start.
combination. It wouldn't start.
Yeah.
So we went to this one spot. We had like lunch, and we were right by Galena. Like we were right on the outskirts. So we all go out, and okay, let's go in and go to our hotels. And his won't start. It's like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? All right, let's push it into the shade. So we push it on a tree, and there was plenty of us. He was like, okay, we'll come back for it later. so we go to dinner. Like, okay, let's go get Gabe's Vanderhall. We go over there, and this is the story of how his Vanderhall's been nicknamed. So we go back, and there are cats. They have set up shop in his Vanderhall.
True
like,
story.
Like a little like home. And I was like, damn, Gabe, you got the pussy wet. So now Gabe's ride will forever be the pussy wet. Because you got the cats in it. But that's one of my favorites. All right, well, thank you very much for your time, guys. I think hopefully you have found this interesting with all the random Vanderhall talk. We've answered some questions. And thanks again.